Hey, it's Zero the Hammer Slayer, and today I'm going to be doing a review of what I've played so far on Yooka Laylee. Now just to put it out there, I did back this game on Kickstarter because I was looking for a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. Something important about me, I still love Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie to this day, and have replayed them countless times because I love those games. And I guarantee you that my love for those games and 3D platformers in general have absolutely nothing to do with nostalgia. My enjoyment for 3D platform adventure collectathons is very genuine, and if you're the kind of person who doesn't like these sorts of games, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to like Yooka Laylee. This game is what it is. It's a collectathon. It's a 3D platforming adventure game. It's not a shooter, it's not an action game, it is what it is, and if it's not your cup of tea, well, that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their preferences, this just happens to be mine. So to get down to it, beware of spoilers, audio and visual wise, for the first two worlds of the game. In my review, I'm going to boil down the game to 5 key elements: gameplay, music and sound, graphics, replayability, and memorableness. Now to start, the game looks absolutely beautiful. So far I've been through at least 4 worlds, and each of them are very different. Their environments are just absolutely gorgeous. I found myself getting to a high area and just looking over what I can of the world just because. The characters look great, and there are quite a few of them who stick around for each world. Yooka and Laylee look great as well. I just love the style of the game, it really appeals to me. One issue I do have, however, are some of the collectibles, mainly the quills, aren't 3D like the rest of the game. Instead, they're a 2D-like sprite that is constantly facing you, which, while it looks fine, it often makes it hard to judge where exactly they are in the world. So sometimes jumping and grabbing them in certain places can be difficult. And also, this is less of a graphics issue and more of a design issue, and it's really more of a non-issue. One thing I'm slightly disappointed about in the game is that returning characters in each world don't have very much of a presence. They're just sorta somewhere in the world, which by contrast in Banjo-Kazooie games, Mumbo and Wumba each had their own houses and entire areas dedicated to them. So it's not really an issue, I just don't have a place for it in this review, but I really wanted to get it out there. As for the music and sound of the game, it's wonderful, and is exactly as I expected it to be. The music by Grant Kirkhope is always amazing, and it fits the worlds just right. The characters speak in Banjo-Kazooie-esque styles, and it sounds just perfect. Some characters are just hilarious to listen to. Sometimes I like opening the start menu just so I can listen to them on the option. Even the sound of Yooka and Laylee's moves can sound pretty awesome. One move in particular, which I won't say or show it now, but it sounds just so awesome, and sometimes it's just fun just to do it so you can hear it. So far, it's all done pretty well, and I don't have any complaints in this category. Next, we'll be talking about gameplay. Now, the gameplay, it is what it is. You jump on stuff, you collect stuff, you do challenges to get those collectibles. The fighting mechanics in this game are not great. There's not much there than spinning through enemies or just crash bandicooting them whenever you're nearby. Certain enemies are more annoyances than threats because they actually require you to do a couple extra steps in the fighting aspect of them, which is fine, but the gameplay of this game is not focused on fighting general enemies, so often you'll find yourself skipping them, and when you can't, it can be slightly, and only slightly, annoying. But where the game does shine is exploration, puzzles, and challenges. The world's pretty dang big, especially after you expand them from their smaller forms. Most of the quill collectibles are in plain sight, but also on top of obstacles, which gives you some platforming. The pages in this game, which are the main collectible that let you progress through the game, are usually trapped in, well, properly named cages. These cages will only open if you complete their challenge, which often winds up being some sort of special puzzle or platforming challenge. Also, many of the recurring characters also have similar challenges for you on each world, such as Dr. Bone Lady here, who needs you to fight a bunch of guys, and Rextro here, who wants you to play retro games to beat his high score. There's plenty of things to do and find in this game. One of the biggest things about this game is learning new moves, which you can purchase from a business talking steak named Trousers. He has new moves in each world and one before you go to each new world. This gives a meaning to quills and raises anticipation about each new world because you don't know what moves you're going to get or when you're going to get them. And these new moves also often open up entirely new possibilities for older worlds and how you can just get around in general. As for controls, the game feels very smooth. I know where Yooka and Laylee are going to wind up when I jump and flutter about. I always feel like if I fall, it's my fault. I'm in control. I see where I'm going and I can feel if I can make it to an area or not. Overall, the gameplay is exactly what I was expecting and exactly what I wanted and enjoy. Now, replayability. Personally, I will be playing this game over and over again in the future. I think the game is just fantastic. It's one of those just sit down and play games. No real stress, no need to completely restart if I haven't played in a while sort of games. I'd say it's moderately replayable, just like most 3D platformers. And this again also depends if you like 3D platformers. If you enjoy to play 3D platformers and not just off of a nostalgic base, you will replay this game. It is a fun game. And finally, memorable. Now, there's plenty to remember about this game. The music, the characters, the worlds all sink into your brain, and I feel like I'll remember most of it after I'm done and when I come back in the future. Many of the characters show up fairly often throughout the game, and each one has their own personality, whether they're a vengeful doctor, a stuck-in-the-arcade-era dinosaur, or a cart who for some reason thinks he's an old guy in a young world. They just stick. You spend enough time in the worlds to memorize the music and the location of everything. It's just an overall game to remember. And for future playthroughs, I'll be going back through the world with fond memories. Except for the kart racing retro game thing. That thing sucks. So overall, I have to say, if you're a fan of 3D platforming collectathon games, this is exactly the game for you. If you loved Banjo-Kazooie games and not simply because of nostalgia, this is the spiritual successor you've hoped for. This is Banjo 3. I love this game, and it's not perfect, but it's exactly what I want in this sort of game. If I had to give it a number, I would give it an 8 out of 10. This has been my review of what I've played so far in Yooka Laylee. Thank you for watching.